True cinema to me is what makes me feel good. I'm no movie buff, but if a movie leaves a good impression on me just by being entertaining, I really don't care how bad it is. Me and Noah Beck, we go way back. If you were conscious during the pandemic, I talk about the pandemic a lot. I need to let that go. If you were a tween/teenage girl during the year of 2020, you know exactly who the Sway Boys are. More importantly, you know exactly who Noah Beck is. The Sway Boys was if you were to AI MagCon boys in the year 2020. Anyways, everyone knows that there's always a standout star in every group. Beyonce and Destiny's Child, Shawn Mendes in MagCon, and Noah Beck in the Sway house. There was always this junechew about him that led me to think that he was in fact bigger than the program. Maybe it's because he was on track to becoming a soccer superstar but didn't to pursue shirtless TikToks. Or maybe it's because he's curated one of the most perfect and exemplary Instagram profiles I've seen in a while. Either way, I have been secretly rooting for Noah Beck since 2020, but I can't say that out loud because that's kind of crazy. So when I heard that he was going to be in a rom-com like 3 years ago, I was immediately sad. This is my niche. A cringy rom-com starring Noah Beck, funded by Tubi of all apps and derived from Wattpad. This was beyond my wildest dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you, or I guess Tubi brings you, Sideline, The Quarterback, and Me. I mean, we already know what delight we're about to get into when the movie is called The Quarterback and Me. We first get introduced to our main character, Dallas, walking into class, or should I say prancing. She recently transferred and is new to the school, trying to pursue her passion of dancing. In her presumed to be English class, her teacher asks her about the incredibly niche Romeo and Juliet. She responds with, "Well, I just think it's really stupid that they threw away their lives for a hookup at a party. This is where we meet our love interest, Drayton." Noah Beck plays the character so well. I think being a fuckboy is just in his blood, and it's honestly his superpower. Drayton responds to Dallas by adding to her comment, "What if they just wanted to have a little fun?" Applying pressure, being the love interest with a forwardness. I love him already. I think what really adds to this scene is the kiss mark on his neck, or maybe a hickey, but it looks like someone literally tongue punched him. Quintessential little details like that remind me that this story is based off of a Wattpad story, but nonetheless, this is still cinema to me. So as we've established, Dallas is two things: a new student and an aspiring dancer. This girl cannot dance to save her life, and this is coming from a non-dancer. Like, I can even tell that everything about this is sloppy. And I think the worst part about it is that you can tell she's so serious. Like, she really thinks she's eating this up. It's like, no, babe, no. But anyway, probably my favorite character in the movie is her dance teacher, because she doesn't sugarcoat a thing. Instead of coddling her and giving her false hope, she never fails to tell her that she looks like she's thinking too hard. She doesn't have the it factor. You know what? Hell yeah, because what does this girl think trying to audition for Cal Arts like this? Dallas later has conversations with her older brother Nathan, and they explain that their parents died. Whatever, it really doesn't add anything to the plot. Dallas talks about how much she has on her plate, but she's mainly focused on that audition for Cal Arts and getting into the dance program. Nathan, her brother, who was also Fangs at Riverdale. And every time I see this man, I cannot help but remember this plot line of the many, many plot lines of Riverdale, where he was in a throuple with Vanessa Morgan and Kevin, and they had a baby. They did the butcher, they did the baker, they did the home and the family maker, and then they kicked Kevin out of the throuple. And maybe I'm remembering this completely wrong, but also you literally can't put anything past Riverdale. So now every time I see him, I just think about when they kicked Kevin out of the throuple. Like, I didn't even know you could do that. Anyways, Nathan, her older brother, gives her a pep talk about being in her senior year. You're a young lit bitch, Dallas, so go wild. Shoot for the stars, go on dates, and most importantly, party. Trying to push her to be the social butterfly that she naturally isn't. And she's like, I guess I'll try, but my main focus is dance. Girl, whatever. So she gets invited to this party by her friend Gabby. She's like, you only live once, and Dallas accepts. So they make it to this warehouse party, and Gabby parts with her love interest. Literally, who cares? Dallas ends up bumping into Drayton at the party, and they have a conversation on the couch, to which Drayton suggests that they play beer pong, and if he wins, he gets to take her out on a date, and if he loses, he'll never ask her again. And she's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get drunk. And so they end up using water in the cups to avoid getting wasty. Drayton ends up losing by a long shot, and he still tries to take her out on a date, a man of his word. And he's like, I can't believe you're actually doubling down. As if he's not the one who in place those terms. Who set that system up? So she sashays away after winning the beer/water pong, but then she catches a glimpse of Drayton speaking to another girl at the party, and she starts chugging. She gets absolutely wasted for no reason. 2 seconds ago, Drayton was literally trying to take you out. You said no, saw him with another girl, and then proceeded to drink yourself silly. Okay. Dallas is drunker than drunk, and her so-called friend who begged her to come to this party ditches her for the guy that she likes. She can very visibly tell that Dallas has had too much to drink, and she's leaving her alone at a party where she doesn't really know anybody with no way to get home so that she can go spend more time with Josh. Are we actually kidding me right now? Who needs enemies? Dallas ends up walking home because, as we've established, her shitty ass friend left her for dead, and Dallas doesn't have any mode of transportation. So she's walking back home, but Superman is like, oh no, don't even think about it, girl. We're not walking home. And I think my favorite part of this rescue is that instead of just driving her home on his motorcycle, he takes her to his house. And she was clearly going back to wherever she lives, and he was right behind her, which means that he was following her the entire time, where she almost made it home, just to circle back to his house and take her there. The level of commitment. So he kidnaps Dallas back to his house. Luckily, it's a mansion, so no one's complaining. But Drayton is a sober one, seeing as though they played water pong, and Dallas was the one who was downing all the shots at the party. He voluntarily takes her to his house because she's clearly wasted. So you would think, with all this space and that big bed basically calling her drunk ass, he would, I don't know, offer her the bed? Well, close. He actually puts her on the lounge chair. Ah, chivalry. What do they always say about you? He then proceeds to undress himself and tower over her to close the lights, of course. She's confused. I'm confused. We're all confused. In the morning, she texts her best friend Gabby to come pick her up, but we all know she's not going to do that. And also, look at these text messages. Wow, you're really good at beer pong, girly pop. Be safe, TTYL. And what the hell kind of a friend are you, Gabby? Cardinal rule number 1 when you bring your friend somewhere they're not familiar with. You never leave them alone, especially if they're drunk. And you knew she was drunk. These texts are incredibly incriminating, and I'm building a case on you. The cheerleading squad and the football team end up going for a trip, something sports, I wasn't listening. But I'm getting flashbacks to an actual rom-com. To be young and in love in New York City. Or Regine, if you can hear us.
I'm not just good with my hands.
Peter Kavinsky would never say something so implicit and obscene. What a whore. After winning their football competition, Drayton decides to bring Dallas out of town as a celebration. He somehow gets into a bar. He knows a guy that knows a guy. So they get to the dance floor, and Dallas is an aspiring dancer, so this whole scene was already making my stomach turn. All I could do was pray, please don't dance. Please don't dance. And I'm all for women letting their hair down and having fun, but my girl cannot dance to save her life. And I knew that she was going to give me secondhand embarrassment. And she delivered. And then Drayton starts dancing with her, but I know my man Noah's got this in the bag. He's never played when it came to a dance. After a night of salsa, they make it back to their hotel. Nathan ends up spawning them, and he gives them this winded lecture about how he didn't see this coming from his sister. Whoa. You were literally the one that was pestering her about how she doesn't go out enough and she's not dating anyone. And then she does it, and now all of a sudden he wants to play Mama y Papa. Get the fuck out of my face. Anyways, the school board ends up getting involved, to which the two get suspended. But when in doubt, do an interpretive dance together to get over your troubles. You know what? I actually love that. So after dealing with their mini fallout, with all this free time being suspended from school, Drayton suggests to take Dallas to visit CalArts because that's the school that she wants to go to so badly. They visit the school, and she's more impressed than she thought she would be, thus making her fall even more in love with the school. When they get back to wherever they were staying, they play Truth or Dare. Drayton asks, why CalArts? Oh my god, literally, who cares? When Dallin asks Drayton truth or dare, he says, dare. And she asks him to show her one of his signature moves to get women. Real subtle. And his signature move is to ask women truth or dare. And then he kisses them. It's not very practical, but I see the vision. So they end up kissing, but Dallas becomes overwhelmed, to which she rushes to bed. In her head, things are going way too quickly, and ultimately she's scared that Drayton, captain of the football team, it's gonna break her little heart.
Right. Friends.
She has a conversation with her best friend Gabby, and Gabby heavily pushes her to be with Drayton because she wants them to be together. And so Dallas visits Drayton to have a conversation to clear the air, to let him know that her distance has been just as hard on her than it has been on him. And he's like, Dallas, if we're gonna do this, you better be all in. So either you're in or either you're out. And she's like, I'm all in. And then they fuck, and this could be the start of something new. I will say I absolutely love cutesy montages and rom-coms because there's always one scene that's candid, and in this movie, it's the popcorn scene. Dallas throws a piece of popcorn into Drayton's mouth and he catches it. It's probably their nth attempt at this shot, but they actually got it this time, and you can tell that he catches him by surprise. I love scenes like that when you can tell that the actors kind of break character, but it still works. Yes. I love it. And then lore drop of the century. Drayton reveals that this big ass tattoo that I'm kind of suspicious as to why I or literally anyone else hasn't caught it before, but he has a tattoo of the name Abby. He goes on to explain that Abby was his twin sister and she disappeared when they were 8. At a neighbor's birthday party, she just kind of wandered off, never came back. I don't know what it is with sibling death in movies, but it's always the most unhinged story every time. And it ends with us, Justin Baldoni's character literally shot his brother when they were also like 8 years old. Like, what is that? Why are they always wilding in these movies? Drayton kind of alludes to the fact that Abby may have been kidnapped, but why is she just wandering off during a neighbor's party? Like, are you okay? Where are you going? Why are you running? Anyways, Drayton explains that his sister disappearing took a huge toll on him and is partially the reason why him and his father have so much tension, because his dad expects that much more out of him since losing his only daughter. And Dallas comforts him and treats him to a contemporary dance, as every good girlfriend does, until Drayton's dad kicks her out. Thank God. The next day, Drayton invites literally everyone to his birthday party. During a family dinner, they invite only Dallas and Gabby, seeing that Dallas is dating Drayton and Gabby is dating Josh, Drayton's adoptive brother. Which I'm starting to see the game plan now, ladies, and I've got to respect the hustle. Anyways, an argument breaks out between Drayton and his father. His dad attempts to give him a toast to being accepted into Waco, the school that he's been planning to go to since he was a wee baby. Things get awkward when Drayton expresses that he actually wants to open up his options about going to other schools. Like, I don't know, California? Oh. I wonder where that came from. He and his dad go back and forth. Son, Waco's been the plan. You can't change your mind now. But Dad, you don't even know what I want, so stay out of it. Yes, I do, son. Waco's been the plan. No, Dad, it's your plan. I want agency over my own life. Well, son, it's not just your life. Whatever that means. And then Drayton explodes and drops the F-bomb.
It's not just your life. Yes, it fucking is.
And you did it at my birthday dinner. I want to be Team Drayton so bad, but if you're the captain of the football team, constantly talking about that you're gonna go to Waco, and then you spend one night at Cal Arts with your girlfriend and then decide that's actually where you want to go right at admission season, like, girl, he literally could have told his dad at any point that he wasn't 100% about Waco. And also, if he was actually passionate about going to Cal Arts for literally any other reason than such, I would be supportive of his decision, but he literally pulled that out of thin air because he went there with Dallas. However, on the flip side of the coin, his dad thinking that he has any type of control over what Drayton decides to do is dramatic. Like, if he wants to go to Cal Arts for whatever reason, let him. Like, literally, who cares? What is this obsession with legacy? It's just a college. After cussing out his father at the dinner table, Dallas is mad at Drayton for some reason. She's upset that he wants to go to Cal Arts because they spent that weekend together. I mean, God forbid a man wants to explore his university institution option. Like, worst comes to worst, he could easily transfer. And it's so obvious that he would rather literally go anywhere but Waco. She chalks it up to be that he's making a bad decision because they're not gonna last anyways. That's why I wasn't with you in the first place, because I knew we were gonna break up. Well, if that's the case, why are you with him right now? If you knew about this predestined breakup. And so they break up for the umpteenth time, but in better measures now, Dallas can focus on her long-awaited Cal Arts audition. The worst character in this movie continues to be the worst character. Dallas, moping and mopping, runs into her best friend Gabby, and she comes in with the intention of consoling her after her breakup with Drayton. Dallas shoos her off, not wanting to talk about Drayton, and instead of just leaving, she says, "I'm sick and tired of your main character energy. Breakups are awful, but you know what else is awful? Princeton rejection. And I get that you have baggage, but it's not fair to push away the people that love you." And no. That's what we're not gonna do. For one, main character syndrome just being Dallas taking time for herself after breaking up with her boyfriend and prepping for the most important audition of her life. Like, yes, I fear she quite literally is the main protagonist. Two, This is genuinely the first time that Gabby has uttered a word about Princeton. No one cares. Literally, how are we supposed to know that? And also, nobody cares. And I don't want to hear being a bad friend coming from someone who left her best friend drunk at a party with no way of getting home so that you could go spend time with the guy. To make matters worse, Dallas comes home to her English teacher and her brother canoodling on the couch. Which, by the way, when Nathan busted Dallas for sneaking out after the football game, he too was sneaking around with Mr. English teacher. This has to be one, some kind of breach of code of conduct, but two, entirely hypocritical. Give Dallas a break. I mean, I'm getting tired on her behalf. Meanwhile, Drayton and his father finally have a conversation to wrap up their weightless beef. Drayton reveals that while in California, he met up with USC football associates and higher-ups, making an effort to expand his options and not just tunnel vision on Waco. Oh my god, we could have come to this conclusion weeks ago had we just talked about it. And then his dad absolves himself of all responsibility by saying, being a father doesn't come with a handbook. You've been a father for 18 years. You would think by now you would have it down. Son, I just want you to be happy. Is that so? Because if you really... You know what? I'll let him have it. Anyways, it is finally time for Dallas's audition for CalArts. And as expected, it was absolutely terrible. Her ability to make me feel so much of nothing while dancing is remarkable. Anyways, her dancing wasn't enough to get her into the school. The admin judging the audition found out that Dallas's mom used to be her college roommate.
We were roommates.
She offers her a spot. Nepotism strikes again. And then we have to catch up with Gabby. Still not in Princeton. Still with Josh. Blah, blah, blah. Dallas decides to make her plea to, surprise, surprise, get back with Drayton. She said that she was scared and she pushed him away the moment things got serious. I feel like we've been here before. She also blamed her avoidance on being a Virgo, which is terrible PR for you guys. And then she drops the L-bomb. Drayton Leeton, or whatever his last name is, I love you. In the end, Drayton gets into USC and Dallas attends CalArts, letting them be near each other because the Lord knew that they wouldn't last long distance. The end. Wow, I cried real tears. Wattpad, you've done it again. I truly can't get over what a horrific friend Gabby was to Dallas, but that's exactly why that bitch didn't get into Princeton. Noah Beck outshone every single person in the movie. Just an absolute star. He had a leather jacket and a dream. I'm sad for the second one, but I already know that they're gonna spend half the movie broken up. Anyways, 10 out of 10 movie. Stellar.
Corvette. Hop in a motherfucking jet like that. Him and that, him and that like that. They were like, Pop, why you all like that? Why you tall like that? Why you all like that?